Good morning. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to all of you here with us this morning in the sanctuary. Welcome to those of you joining us from home, whoever you are, whomever you love, however you identify, wherever you are on your journey, whatever yearning for hope brings you here today. We are glad to be together. I am Reverend Audette. I am the lead minister, and today I'm serving as your worship associate. I'm 5'4". I am a middle-aged, white-appearing woman with shoulder-length red hair. Today I'm wearing a maroon shirt and black sweater. And I am very excited to welcome today's guest preacher from UU Justice, North Carolina, Kaleb Graves. How many of you happened to catch Kaleb yesterday or know of Kaleb? Yes. Woohoo! Kaleb, whose pronouns are he, they, is a North Carolina native who is passionate about local, national, and international justice. They graduated from Duke Divinity School in 2023, and he is currently working towards an MA in psychology from Fayetteville State University. So for all of you who wonder when he's not doing things like this, preaching truth to power, he loves doing things like hiking in Grandfather Mountain, swimming in the Haw River, enjoying natural wonders. Kaleb has been married to their partner, Hannah, who's also here with us this morning. Wave at Hannah, everybody. She's in the second row here. And they have 4 cats together, 4 cat babies. So also here this morning helping us create worship is Dr. Les. Simon is on tech back there. Thank goodness. We love having you here. And we want to say a deep thanks that we always try to do, because we want to thank each and every single one of you who shows up here, who takes a turn doing the work that it takes to keep this place running. No matter what it is you're doing, no matter how you're helping, we are so grateful. We can't do it without you, but I promise you that when we do it together, we are amazing. But I want to turn it just a little bit now. I want to invite you to take a minute to breathe in preparation for this hour of love, hope, and liberation. Take a moment, too, to silence those devices. Don't be the one whose phone rings during the service. And prepare your heart to hear the opening music.
Good morning. Like to responsive. Like to invite our chalice lighter for this morning, Eden, to come up, because this is a short reading, so you got to move quick. All right. This is a poem from Hannah Zenesh. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the secret fastness of the heart. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame.
We light this candle in honor of the many courageous women who fought for women's rights in this country and who laid the groundwork for the reproductive freedoms that American women have experienced. These include Unitarians Abigail Adams, wife of John Adams, who was one of the main authors of the Declaration of Independence, and Lucille Longview, who was recognized as one of the leading defenders of women's rights and made a significant difference in our denomination. We also honor Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, and Mary Ware Dennett, who fought for contraception access. In 1963, the National Unitarian Universalist Association became the first religious tradition to officially endorse a woman's rights to reproductive choice. In 2024, our UU congregation adopted reproductive justice as a social justice priority. The groundwork for this began in 2023 when our congregation expanded our social justice calling to include reproductive justice. That year, a small group of individuals in our congregation began studying this issue after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, nearly 50 years after the Supreme Court granted the federal constitutional right to abortion in this country. These initial members of this study group included Jane Branham, Emily Breyer, Melissa Heimelin, Joanna Hewlett, Wanda Lanier, Sherry Lundquist, Freda Mengel, Wilma Oman, and Kelly Weedle, with strong support of Reverend Claudia Jimenez. Today, the reproductive justice team consists of more than 20 members that work on advocacy and education related to reproductive health, as well as fundraising and volunteering to support women seeking abortion care, often in partnerships with other groups and religious faiths.
Thanks, Joanna. And I want to invite you to rise to the peak of your physical or spiritual stature. We're going to sing together. We're going to sing, "We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder." The words will be up here.
All right, so this is a time when I'm supposed to speak to the little ones sitting down front. That's all of y'all who are doing some fun things with pipe cleaners here. Now, what does somebody usually come up and do here? Do they usually tell you a story? Is that what usually happens? Do you like stories? Yeah. Okay, so this is for you because I decided not to do a story today. I have been trying to learn to play more in my everyday life. Sometimes when you become an adult and you deal with serious things all day, every day, life just becomes too serious and I forget how to play. So I've decided to pick up an old hobby I had from when I was a kid, and that's magic tricks. Ooh, oh, I see some smiles. That's good. Does anybody want to come up and help me with a magic trick? All right, that was a very enthusiastic first hand. You can come up. You got this. All right, Ian, you both. Everybody coming up. All right. All right, so I want you to stand right here, and here's what we're going to do. Here's a magic metal ring. You got your magic metal ring? All right. It's hard. You can't really pull on it. No, it doesn't do much. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take this ring, and I'm going to put it right here, and everybody watching, I'm going to put it right through the middle.
Yep, they're going to get there.
Yep. Up. Oh, right through. Now, here's the deal. I want you to help me with something else here. You're going to look at this ring. This ring's really solid too, right? You want to pull on that ring? Yeah, you can pull on that ring. And then how about right here? Is that a solid right here with that ring? Yeah, that's pretty solid there too, right? Now listen. This ring is also solid. You can play with that one. Yeah. Yeah, also very solid. Now, you can't put it through right here, right?
No, but you can put it through right there.
You can up here. I can put it through up here. All right, how about you can't put it through up here, and it can't go through here, right? No, because this ring's solid too, so you shouldn't be able to take this ring and put it right here, right?
You can.
You can. How you do it? Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. All right, so the ring can't go through here, and the ring can't go through here, but watch. It still goes through anyways. Look at that. Ooh, and then once more here. Can't go through these two rings, right? And it can't go right through here, but anyway, it's going to go right through anyways. Now, you can go sit down with everybody else. Yay! Now, one of the reasons that I like good magic, it's questionable whether this was good magic. This is my first time doing it in about 10 years. One of my favorite things about magic is we all know there's a trick, right? We all know there's a way that something that looks magical happens. We just don't know how it happens. What we need is somebody who has practiced it to be able to show us a really, really cool show. And sometimes in life, there are things that need to happen, but things that look like they're impossible to happen, like these are problems we're never going to be able to overcome. But you know what? There are people around us who have maybe dealt with the same problems before. And even if we don't know, like a magic trick, we don't know how they've solved this problem before, like teaching someone a magic trick, they're willing to tell you. So as we go through life, there's going to be a lot of different challenges. There's going to be a lot of things that might spook us. I'm going to be talking to some of your parents and grandparents and others here about spooky things today and challenges we need to overcome. But when we work together, even if we don't see how we're going to overcome a challenge, we can do it together, even if it feels like magic. All right? Sound good? We got the message there? All right.
Isn't he amazing? Yeah. Caleb. Guess I have to learn how to do some magic, right? Well, this is the time when we're going to sing you to your faith formation classes. If you are here with a grown-up who hasn't been here with you before, they may want to go with you to see where they're going to pick you up afterwards. But otherwise, if you would make sure to helpfully take away anything that's on the wooden part of the floor, you can just leave it on the mat there. That would be so helpful. And we'll sing you to your classes now.
enter a time of prayer or meditation with me as we call in that. Today, we call upon that. We call upon that which is the ineffable fusion of mysteries, that which calls us to remember a foggy dream on our morning commute, that which lives within a stack of 12 30-day sober chips, that which causes bacteria to evolve to eat plastic, styrofoam, and nuclear waste. We welcome that here today, that which is found in the libations of many traditions, from the Passover wine to that poured out from the ancestors, to the Eucharist wine, to the tea which breaks a Ramadan fast at iftar. We welcome that here today, that which we may worship or honor or simply acknowledge is inevitable in our reality. We call upon that it may make us aware of its presence, create bonds that turn acquaintances into friends and comrades, and empower our feet and hands and minds and hearts and senses to struggle for liberation. And we ask that would leave us with a faith that is unshakable, that though institutions may fall into decay, though nations may fall into fascism, though leaders may fail us, that is always there, eternal from generations before, eternal to generations after. And it is something that can continue always to bring meaning and purpose to this small window of our lives. Amen, Asher, and blessed be.
Now is the time in our service when we share the joys and concerns of our community. And so to do this, first, we brine our waters, these shared waters, for the tears, the sadnesses, those gritty, difficult things in life. We acknowledge them and we make space for them. And we sprinkle flower petals for all the beauty and joy, meaning and purposefulness that we have in our lives. And we, as is our practice, we're going to invite this half of the room to line up here. Our rocks are right here in this bowl. You're welcome to just come and bring a rock for your joy or sorrow. Same on this side. The rocks are right here at the end of these first set of chairs. And as you go back, you'll probably need to create a little space for folks going back to their chairs. But at this time, we share this time of joys and sorrows. And if you need a hug, we're here for that too. Last week, I pulled a mean trick on our worship associate and surprised them as they were trying to place one last stone, one for joy and one for sorrow, because we do this to recognize those members of our congregation and our community that are not present with us in the sanctuary. Whether we are gathered or apart, we are one community.
Readings from Theses on the Philosophy of History by the liberal Jewish theologian, mystic, and philosopher Walter Benjamin. There is a secret agreement between past generations and the present one. Our coming was expected on earth. Like every generation that preceded us, we have been endowed with a weak messianic power, a power to which the past has a claim. That claim cannot be settled cheaply. In every era, the attempt must be made anew to wrest tradition away from a conformism that is about to overpower it. The Messiah does not come as the Redeemer, he comes as the subduer of Antichrist. Only the historian will have the gift of fanning the spark of hope in the past. Only the historian who is firmly convinced that even the dead will not be safe from the enemy if he wins. And this enemy has not ceased to be victorious so far. Historicism contents itself with establishing a causal connection between various moments in history. But in fact, there is no fact that is a cause for the very reason to be historical. It became historical posthumously, as it were, though events might have been separated from them by thousands of years. A historian who takes this as a point of departure, he stops telling the sequence of events like the beads of a rosary. Instead, he sees history as grabbing the constellation which his own era has formed with a definite earlier one. Thus, he establishes a conception of the present as the time of the now which is shot through with messianic time. For every second of time was the straight gate through which Messiah might enter.
Our musical reflection will be a video of Bobby Joe Valentine, singer-songwriter, who will be here on May 23rd to do a concert for us, May 23rd at 7:30. Bobby Joe Valentine is an explorative, hopeful, spiritual, queer artist who strives to make music and poetry that is good medicine for everyone. So we look forward to having him here.
1, 2, 3. I'm trading deadlines for a softer ceiling. I'm trading lonely for a truer feeling. I'm trading easy for a harder healing, but one that leaves me whole. I'm trading running for a hand beside me. Trading my shadows for a light that won't hide me. I'm trading money for the love it can't buy me, and a little less control. And we pick up so much when we're living that we should never hold. We carry so much that we shouldn't own. But all that I need is what I've been right inside this skin. Everything else that doesn't treat me well, I'm trading in. I'm trading in. I'm trading safety the world has sold me for something wilder and real and holy, for what the ghost of my father told me, that you're already home. Anywhere you go. And we pick up so much when we're living that we should never own. We carry so much that we shouldn't hold. All that I need, I've already been given, right inside this skin. Everything else that doesn't treat me well, I'm trading in. I'm trading in. Trading deadlines for a softer ceiling. Trading my lonely for a truer feeling. I'm trading easy for a harder healing, but one that leaves me whole.
Good morning, everyone. All right, still responsive. That's good. So the reason that's good is that I got to come out in UU spaces, I feel like. I was actually ordained in a progressive Baptist denomination. LGBTQ affirming, supportive of reproductive rights. They're cool people. But I know that that can be a surprise for some folks. But why this is important is that when I was ordained, I didn't know if I believed in God, but I knew I liked to talk. So I was trained to get a little bit more call and response, a little bit more feedback. So why don't we practice that right now with some of the chants that I heard from the teachers' rally a couple of days ago. So when I say union, you say power. Union! Power. Union! Power. When I say people, you say power. People! Power. People! Power. When I say queer, you say power. Queer! Power. Queer! Power. When I say you say power. You. Power. You. Power. All right, I think we're off to a good start. So stick with me today. I'm going to be taking us to some places that are going to be a little bit dark. It's going to be a little bit despairing even, but I promise you we're going to come out of that at the end. But I want you to be able to sit in your feelings for a little bit. Stick with me. We're going somewhere. What I've noticed as a young person working in progressive faith circles is that a lot of folks have this idea that time is their salvation. This shows up in our slogans that the youth will save us, or we tell politicians to get on the right side of history, as if each generation and era will become more progressive than the one that preceded it. Now, when faced with a global catastrophe like climate change, we have thought that without too much sacrifice on our parts, science would share in this social march of progress where we've seen LGBTQ rights, women's rights, civil rights seem to come one after the other. We've thought science kind of worked the same way. And we'd have carbon capture technology, electric cars, and green new deals that would ensure a green new age. Or as Dr. Tad DeLay put it, God is dead. So we found in the heavens a mythology even more absurd than the theologies we abandoned. Everything's going to be fine. But everything's not fine, is it? By believing that a better world would inevitably be victorious over the forces of hate and greed, we failed to see the coming flood that was going to wash our progress away. And now that we've awoken from our slumber and looked at the situation we face, the reality is quite grim. On the social level, we have hard data showing decline for LGBTQ rights for the first time in decades. Racial hatred is growing. Anti-Semitic attacks and sentiment are being normalized both on the dirtbag left, but particularly on the far right. Young men in Generation Z are more far right at their current age than any other generation in modern history, fueling this rise in hate crimes, misogyny, and armed militias. Democracy is in decline. Undocumented human beings are being disappeared to foreign and domestic torture camps without due process and without a criminal record. Documented immigrants are being disappeared from appointments in college campuses, and we've seen that peaceful protesters have been summarily executed without a hint of justice. On the economic level, wealth inequity is the highest it has ever been in this nation, even more than during the Great Depression. At this moment, 1%, 1 in 100 of our fellow Americans is either homeless or in prison. 1 in 100. Meanwhile, the 3 richest men in America, and of course they're all men, possess more wealth than the bottom half of the entire country, and they celebrate an AI-fueled vision in which there is a permanent underclass to which this other half belongs. In the background of these domestic crises is the deadly hum of international crises, from Ukraine to Sudan, and of course in Gaza, where Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders, and the Human Rights Watch have said there has been and continues to be a genocide in Gaza. The UN has reported that nearly every home has been destroyed. 1 in 7 Palestinians are dead or injured. And this so-called Gaza method, the extermination of an entire civilization, is now being carried out or threatened throughout the entire Middle East, from South Lebanon to elementary schools in Iran. And looking even more generally, climate change is accelerating at a truly rapid pace. The last 10 years have all been the hottest 10 years on record. And greenhouse gas emissions, for all that we are doing with green technology, continues to grow year after year, with a slight dip for the pandemic downturn, of course. At current rates, experts believe, get this, that by 2100, Chicago will be as hot as Phoenix, Phoenix will be as hot as Baghdad, and Baghdad will be virtually unlivable. All this will cause all-consuming wildfires, food system failures, wars for resources, mass migrations, and superstorms like the world has never seen. I usually have to speak of this in an abstract when I go to other churches in North Carolina, but Asheville knows very well the reality of these climate change-fueled superstorms and what the floods can look like. And they are expected to grow 10 times more common over the next 100 years. To prevent climate apocalypse, we would need a mass mobilization to reshape the entire world economic order. But how can we do this when we couldn't even get our neighbors to get vaccinated during the pandemic? How can we do it when the technocrats and entrepreneurs who promised us the greener, better future are now the ones cutting funding to the EPA and climate research and making their electric products out of strip mining in the Philippines and slave labor in the Congo? All of this while investing trillions in AI networks that drink up our groundwater and threaten mass unemployment through a bursting bubble or the elimination of entire career paths. I do not think is an exaggeration. I've given this sermon at a lot of congregations that we are facing the end of the world as we know it, and a lot of y'all feel that. but it's scary to say out loud because you don't want to be the crazy person, right? But you feel it. This quite bleak reality, where we have no visible paths to victory, where our dream of a better world is a hopeless cause, directly contradicts the idea that the arc of history inevitably bends towards justice. It directly contradicts our quite theological conviction that we're going to be victorious and everything will be fine. The cognitive dissonance can lead to total paralysis of either thinking to yourself, well, where do I even start with a problem this big, with all of these problems so big? Where do I start so you don't do anything? Or, if I can't win, what's the point of doing anything at all? Sit with that for a second. But don't stay there. Don't worry, I told you we're going to go on the up here in a second. Now, I was writing a sermon for my Arkansas church on April 19th, 2019, when I learned that the Notre Dame Cathedral was on fire. I made the decision to use my huge sanctuary projectors to watch the fire spread. What I thought was probably just a small accident turned out to be a raging inferno that the chief of the fire department in Paris said would make Notre Dame a lost cause. The vaults of all that sacred and cultural knowledge and artifacts was going to be burned up. The rose windows would melt and shatter. And worst of worst, the fire would climb up the 2 bell towers and burn the bells so that they would fall down to the earth and take down the towers in the entire cathedral with them. Notre Dame was a hopeless cause. It was all over. The Sacred Heart of France would be reduced to ash and ember. And when I saw that fire bursting through the roof of the cathedral, I believed the experts. It is lost. But over the next 3 hours, something changed. Everyday Parisians formed a human chain through the doors down to the vaults of Notre Dame, and they passed these sacred and cultural artifacts up with each other, systematically saving them. Firefighters chose to fight the flames from inside the building, an enormous personal risk to themselves, putting their bodies between the blaze and whatever would come next. And little by little, I started to hear new expectations. Almost everything in the vault was saved. The rose windows would not melt and shatter. The bells would not fall. In fact, there is clearly significant damage, but Notre Dame will mostly be saved. And this year, we are going to see that it is fully rebuilt and ready for the faithful to come there again. Like Parisians seeing the flames above Notre Dame, I think that we are looking at a hopeless cause, and it should be the reality of that hopeless cause that pushes us to act, not lying to ourselves that there is going to be some easy path forward. Parisians acted not because they saw a path through which they could win, but because they saw what was most sacred to them being destroyed, and they said, you might be taking this building down, but you're going to have to go through me first. That is what must root in our hearts if we are to face the next day, the next month, the next year, the next decade. We must fight for what is good because it's good, even if we don't see a path to victory. Fight for what is just because it's just. For what is righteous because it's righteous. Beautiful for what is beautiful. Lovely for what is lovely. For what we have because it's worth it to fight. Because like Parisians watching the soul of their nation burn and knowing they can do nothing else, this is who we are. This is how we act. This is how we show up. We have no other way to live. This is who we are. But here's the thing. I put together this organizing campaign called Solidarity Fast for Palestine in 2024. And we went and we got 100 seminarians, pastors, rabbis, monks, etc., to go on hunger strike /fast for 5 days. And we were able to get a meeting in Senator John Tester's office, who is the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee for War. And when I got done with this campaign, I didn't think we had changed the world, but I felt in my heart done what's right. And it got me to commit to this work, to still be up here with you today. But for some of my friends who did that work with me, that was their last time organizing. They said that there was too much despair. They didn't feel the thrill, the passion that I felt, just the despair. So how do we get beyond that to the way that we can work for hopeless causes when we have been trained so well to only fight for things we think we can win? The reality is that we do not just have a responsibility to the future, though we have that too, to those who come after us. We have a responsibility to each other, here and now, to claim each moment. And we have a responsibility to the generations that came before us, who also didn't see how this was going to end, didn't see how they'd be able to build a space and rights and human potential to even be in this room together, but they did it anyways. We have a responsibility to all of history. The philosopher Walter Benjamin, who wrote the insanely esoteric reading this morning that I provided for you, just before his death at the hands of Nazi oppression, he struggled with this question as well. And again, speaking from his perspective of liberal Judaism on the eve of the Holocaust, he suggested that instead of looking towards the future to save us, we must claim each moment to live out our values. Instead of looking for a messianic age to save us in the future or a messianic person to save us in the future, quote, we have been endowed with a weak messianic power. The time of the now is shot through with chips of messianic time. And every second of time is the straight gate through which the Messiah might enter. Instead of seeing time as a series of events strung along like pearls on a string, we must see them as constellations of moments of courage, of love, of righteousness that pierce the darkness and create a constellation that connects to those that came before, those who came after, so that people can point and say, that is the world that I want, and I refuse to give up on it. But giving up our old view of time means we have to stop looking towards the upcoming election as the harbinger of a partisan Messiah as well. And instead, we start acting together today. The Democratic Party isn't coming to save us. A midterm blue wave isn't coming to save us. Kamala Harris isn't coming to save us. James Tallarico isn't coming to save us. Roy Cooper isn't coming to save us. Gavin Newsom isn't coming to save us. Zoran Mamdani isn't coming to save us. In this moment, there is only you, me, us, now, here, and the people power that we have together. Instead of giving up our power of the now for the hope in an unseen political future Messiah, we must embrace each moment as an opportunity for an act of resistance, of love, of justice that causes us to embrace each other right now and do the good deeds that connect to form our own constellations of courage. From this new view of time, we may discover our responsibilities to each other, the hope and trust that we can have in one another right now. When we cling to this truth, the paralysis and apathy of hopelessness fades. And now there is only this moment and this loving action right here with you. And if we stay in that space, courageously claiming each opportunity to live out our values of love, of justice, of interdependence, no matter what the future might hold, then who knows? Perhaps like the firefighters of Notre Dame, we may look up to see a miracle, even if we did not know that the solidarity we were weaving out of each moment with one another, well, that would be our salvation.
There's only one way to follow up something like that. First, show up and act, right? But let's sing together. Let's see if we can pour our hearts out into this moment as well. Please sing with us, We'll Build a Land. So now is the time for the work of the congregation, and what we usually love to do at the beginning here is to invite our visitors and guests to introduce themselves, but we have a special speaker today, so we're not going to be doing that, which means it's even more important for all of us to make sure we are welcoming and friendly and checking out our visitors and guests when we are in our social time afterwards. How many people do we make sure, new people that we speak to each week? 3, at least 3, right? Yes, that's something that we do so well, so thank you for doing that. And if you are new or a visitor today, we would love to get to know you. We have Trevor, who is our connections coordinator. He looks like this. There he is, and there he is. Trevor's available, but so is every member of the congregation, so you can talk to anyone. We also have a welcome table, so if you have some questions, you can drop by there, and we would love to get to know you a little more. Our announcements, they always run as slides at the beginning of the service. If you're not here in the sanctuary or noticing them in the social hall, you can always look at Thursday's weekly e-news. We've got everything there. Just as a note, some of you might not realize, but if you just open your email and look at the e-news, you're not seeing all of it. You got to click those little buttons and make sure you've caught the whole thing because there's so much happening here. And so if you're not receiving those e-news, just email us at information@uuasheville.org. By the way, that uuasheville.org email is the only official email for anyone here on staff. So if you get a text or an email that comes and it looks close but no cigar, that's a scam. It's a fraud. Don't answer it, and definitely don't give them money or gift cards. Just a note. Before we get too much further, we want to remind you next weekend what's happening. Anyone? 75th anniversary. Please join us on Saturday from 5 to 7 for our fabulous happy hour. And on Sunday, there is just one service, 10 a.m. It's a very special service, followed by a celebration coffee hour, and then by our budget town hall, so we can launch into our next 75 years. Also, as you've heard, we've got Bobby Joe Valentine coming up in concert on the 23rd. And just so you know, this is a bit of a pilot project to see how we can do with concerts. Ticket sales are currently slow. We would love to see those boosted. We want to make sure Bobby Joe has a great audience, so grab your ticket now. And then the following weekend, because May is chock full, it is our second annual Asheville's Got Talent shows. So how many of you were here last year for it? If you saw it, it was amazing. It's going to be even better this year. There are actually more acts, so make sure you invite your friends and neighbors and join us for that. Last note before I turn it over, we have our pastoral care team members here every Sunday. They're glad to lend an ear if you need to talk about things. You can identify them by their yellow name tags, and we also have a pastoral care table in the social hall. But we have a new community plate partner. It's the beginning of a new month. Our new community plate partner is WinCap, and we have Bellamy Crawford here to introduce their work.
Hi, I'm Bellamy Crawford. I am 5'4", non-binary, white, short brown hair, brown sweater. I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you so much for making WinCap a recipient of the Community Plate Partner Program. I also wanted to say that I've been feeling the love. WinCap has really been feeling supported by the Unitarian community over the past couple of months anyway. We just had our biggest annual fundraiser of the year, Dining Out for Life, and many of you dined out and made donations. And we have just an incredible volunteer in the audience, Margaret McAllister, who I am so grateful for. So in addition to being the Community Plate recipient, we've also been just feeling loved and appreciated and supported by this community already. I did want to say also, Kaleb, man, you got me pumped up. I didn't expect to feel all those emotions, but I loved everything you said and really appreciated that boost of energy. I actually have a shirt. So, as I was getting dressed this morning, I found this shirt that
Folks at home can't hear you.
Oh.
Sorry.
I found this shirt that I bought in Japan several years ago, and it says, "Why good? Because good." And I think it's supposed to be comical, you know, it's funny, but you did say, you said, "Why good? Because good. Why justice? Because justice. And why lovely? Because lovely." And I just thought that was so wonderful and so simple, and it's been kind of a concept that has defined my Unitarian faith and also my approach to my work. And it really defines the work culture at WNCAP, and also the history of WNCAP, which I want to share a little bit with you. WNCAP was founded in 1986, and it was founded by a small group of volunteers who were all health workers. And during the height of the crisis, and there were many people who were dying of AIDS, who were being abandoned by friends and family, and also mistreated by the medical industry. And so these volunteers really just provided care, comfort, and food for these people at the end of their lives while they were dying. And eventually, they were able to secure a house in Montford, and this was in the early 90s. And they created this space where people who were dying of HIV or of AIDS could go and have a beautiful environment and have someone's hand to hold and have someone tell them that they were loved and forgiven and that they weren't sinners and, you know, and that they weren't untouchable. And I think that spirit of love and forgiveness and comfort has really carried through and is still really strong in the culture of WNCAP. But eventually, throughout the 90s, WNCAP then began offering, as the needs of the community continued to grow, pharmacy services and medical case management and outreach education and prevention services and harm reduction services. And you know, eventually it became incorporated into a nonprofit that now, today, we serve about 5,000 individuals impacted by HIV every year. And we now also offer free HIV testing and hepatitis C testing, free and confidential, so that we can bring clients in and lead them through the continuum of care, and also make sure that the prevention services and the community education outreach is strong enough that we are bringing in clients who are at risk early enough to really prevent the spread of HIV and make sure that our community understands that it's still a very important issue, contrary to a lot of, you know, popular belief around, oh, you know, there's a medication now, so it's not a big deal. And I think that, you know, WNCAP has come a long way since our beginnings in the 80s, and the United States has really come a long way. But as Kaleb mentioned, you know, we're experiencing a rise in anti-LGBTQ, a rise in stigma and violence and hatred toward different lifestyles. And one of the things that's most devastating right now is we're losing funding. Worldwide, really, when it comes to HIV programs and services. And the reason that is scary is that I don't know if many people understand that HIV is the fastest mutating virus on the planet. And if you consider how you need to continue researching different vaccines for different flu strands that have mutated and how quickly that happens, imagine what losing funding for medical research will do for HIV, combined with the rise in cultural stigma and discrimination. I think we're looking at some very dark times, but it is very helpful to remember the why good, because good, and why love, because love, you know, and our commitment to that. So you're stepping up and offering us the opportunity to reach out and connect with this community and become the recipient of the community plate means a whole lot to us, and we really appreciate it, so thank you. Oh, I want to mention too, we do have some of these annual reports out in the lobby for anyone who wants to read more about our work and history.
Will you be available also
Yeah, and I'll answer any questions anyone has afterwards. Thank you.
So that leads us to this. The work and ministries of this congregation are entirely supported by the generosity of our members and friends. And so we hope that you will share that generosity in the plate so we can share it with our partners. We celebrate that generosity each Sunday with music and thanks. You make us possible. We give thanks for you. And the offering will now be gratefully collected. For the gifts of your time, talent, and treasure, we are truly grateful. We're also very grateful to Dr. Les for providing the music today. And I imagine it could go without saying, but we shouldn't let it go without saying that we are so grateful to Kaleb Graves for being here today. Thank you, Kaleb. If Kaleb has inspired you, then remember his work with UU Justice North Carolina, and you can show up any Friday for the Friday Action Hour, which is at noon? 11 a.m. I couldn't remember which one it was. So Friday Action Hour, we can all get involved because we only have now. And now for more music.
My benediction today comes from excerpts from posters from Bread and Puppet Theater, which if you've never seen, you should. Now, this is also going to be responsive, so when I say something, and I'm pointing at you, you just repeat it, all right? Resistance. Resistance of the heart. Resistance of the heart against business as usual. Resistance of the mind. Resistance of the mind against the supremacy of money. Resistance of the hands. Resistance of the hands against all empires. Resistance of the senses. Resistance of the senses against technological oppression. May you bring that resistance with you through this week and as long as you need it. And now we're going to be having our closing hymn, which is going to have the words up on the screen. There we go. Thank you.